Hi, everyone. This week, we celebrate the 17th week in Ordinary Time. Ordinary Time is green because we are growing in our understanding of Jesus and his teachings. This week's Gospel is from the Gospel of John. Jesus went across the Sea of Galilee. A large crowd followed him because they saw the signs he was performing on the sick. Jesus went up to the mountain and sat down with his disciples. The Jewish feast of Passover was near. When Jesus raised his eyes and saw that a large crowd was coming to him, he said to Philip, "Where can we buy enough food for them to eat?" He said this to test him because he himself knew what he was going to do. Philip answered him, 200 days' wages worth of food would not be enough for each of them to have a little. One of his disciples, Andrew, the brother of Simon Peter, said to him, "There is a boy here who has 5 barley loaves and 2 fish, but what good are these for so many?" Jesus said, "Have the people recline." Now there was a great deal of grass in that place, so the men reclined, about 5,000 in number. Then Jesus took the loaves, gave thanks, and distributed them to those who were reclining, and also as much of the fish as they wanted. When they had had their fill, he said to his disciples, "Gather the fragments left, so that nothing will be wasted." So they collected them and filled 12 wicker baskets with fragments from the 5 barley loaves that had been more than they could eat. When the people saw the sign he had done, they said, "This is truly the prophet, the one who is come into the world." Since Jesus knew they were going to come and carry him off to make him king, he withdrew again to the mountain alone. This week's gospel is a very famous story where Jesus fed a very large crowd from a very small amount of food. The start of the story is interesting. Jesus sees a large crowd of people. Similar to last week, he felt sorry for the crowd and wanted to take care of them. This time, the crowd needed something to eat. He asked his disciples how to feed the crowd. One disciple, Philip, said it would cost a lot of money to feed the crowd, even only a little bit of food. He seemed kind of puzzled how they'd be able to do it. But another disciple, Andrew, took things one step further and pointed out a boy who had some food with him. Not enough for everyone. But apparently Jesus didn't think so. It turned out that the disciple with the silly idea and the boy willing to help made it all possible. I wonder how many other miracles are waiting to happen if only we would take a chance with a silly idea and something small to contribute. It was a nice grassy area, so Jesus told the people to sit down, and he gave thanks for the bread and fish and gave everyone as much as they wanted. It's interesting in this story that it says that Jesus gave out the food and that there were 5,000 men, and probably women and children too. I can hardly imagine Jesus going around to the crowd of over 5,000 people handing out food to everyone. Even with the disciples helping, those were a lot of people to feed. Each person was fed. So it was a large crowd, but each was taken care of personally. Afterwards, the disciples picked up the remaining pieces, and they had 12 baskets worth. Jesus told them not to waste. Do we ever waste the leftovers of a miracle? Does something amazing happen like sudden abundance that we let go to waste? Maybe it's an abundance of things or an abundance of God's mercy. Do we gather that up so it isn't wasted? What do we do with that? The people were amazed and talking about Jesus, but he didn't want the attention, so he got away from the crowds alone. Jesus wanted to help the people, but he didn't want the attention. Are you willing to help others and not get anything for it?